Hello and welcome back to Pattern Making with Les Morris. Just to recap, to remind you of the style that we'll be doing. This is it here, and we will be just picking up where we left off. We can call this stage here stage 1. So we've already marked off the blocks, the front and the back. We can put our blocks away, and I've got it all marked out here. And I'm going to create on here the style lines, which is the raglan line, the panels, back, across the back and the front. I'm going to trace them off. So what I've already done, I've marked off the block, and I have, this is the raglan line shape. This is the front along here. And I'm going to come along this section here, which I've marked from, I've put the line in down to the bust shape. So this section here, I'm going to trace off, and I've taken it all the way this side of the dart all the way down, and I'm going to separate this section here, and then I'm going to separate this section over here, which you can see I've marked on in green. So over this section, I'm going to separate that here along here. And if you notice, what I've done is I have always tapered my hem. So I've come in 1.5 inches and I've reshaped it back to the hip because I don't want it too wide at the bottom. I'm going to get rid of the dart here. I'm going to throw it into this seam here. And so the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to copy off, trace off this section here, this section down to here, and then I'm going to add my seam allowance, and then I'm going to do this other section. So I can put that, that's my draft. It's all my, the things that I need is marked on my draft. I don't throw my draft away. I copy off on another sheet of paper. So what I do is I fold the edge, have a fold edge along there, and you can see that I've already copied that off. So I've copied off this section. So if I put that on the side so that you can see what I've actually done, and I've copied off the side section here, which is that side here, this side, and I've got the dart in, and I've copied that side, which is that side. So I've got the two section there already pre-marked, and I'm going to just add the seam allowance around this, the center front section. So you only need 1/4 inch around the neck. So we're going to put that on there, and we need 1/2 inch on the raglan line, and down the seam here, we're going to put 1 centimeter all the way down. And you just follow the shape round, the shape that you have, centimeter all the way down. It's a straight line, so you can draw that line in with your ruler, and you can use your curve for the curve section, which is like around the waist area and along the hip. So it's 1 centimeter around down there, and you take it all the way up to there, and then you can put, because it's a short dress, we're going to put 1 inch felled hem at the bottom. So we put 1 inch along the bottom like that. So now this is your center front of your dress. So you just write on here center front or front, and we're going to cut one of those. So that is your front, and you cut one of those. So once you've done that, we're going to just cut out that shape, and then we're going to move on to the side bits, which is this section here, which we've traced off with the dart. So we're going to get rid of that dart there. We're going to close that out. Then we can cut that one out after, so we can put that on the side. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to cut along one of these darts here up to that point, and I'm going to close out the dart shape. So I'm going to cut out on this one here, doesn't matter which one you cut, top or the bottom, and I'm going to close the dart shape out like that, and you sellotape it, or you can prick stick it. As you can see, the dart is now closed. So I'm just going to bring that over to that point there, close the dart out, so it's now so all my dart is swung into that area of the seam. So once you got that, all you do is you just add your seam allowance, but you have to mark it out on another sheet of paper so that you can add your seam allowance on it. So I'm just going to quickly mark that out along here. So you see everything is done from your block onto your, to create your pattern on new sheets of paper. So now this is going to be my new pattern piece. I'm going to follow the shape round, make sure you get that. So now that is marked into there like that, and you mark around the armhole like that. And I would put a balance mark in to tell me that's in the front, and I'll put my waist notches in. And also don't forget, always remember to put your grain line on. So we use that because you transfer your grain line all the time as you go along. So that is now my grain line here. So I mark that on my pattern. Grain line is to help you and guide you on putting your pattern piece on your fabric straight. So around this armhole here, we want a centimeter. We want a centimeter along this area here as well. So round your seam, so just follow the shape round, just mark it round, get a nice curve following round there into down to the waist, and then you do a centimeter out, follow it all the way down your seam where it's a straight line there. And then we're going to put a 1 inch seam allowance for your felled hem like you did on the other piece at the bottom along there. But we have to check to make sure this line here fits in our front, which is that one. It's going to fit onto this line. So before we cut this one out, we have to check to see. And then we're just going to put your seam allowance on the side along there. You only need a centimeter along here. Follow the shape along your hip round to your waist. You follow it round, and then you're going to go right up to your underarm centimeter. Follow that round, follow it round, follow it round till you come back round to your waist. So that's your seam allowance on there. And if you cannot curve it with your free hand, just use your curve like that to curve it round, to curve around the shape. Make sure you get a nice curve it round, and follow it right round till you come round and meet up the straight line along there. So you get a nice curve into there like that. So it's always a good idea to use your curve so you get a good curve. We just rub out the lines that you don't want in there. Make sure you get a nice curve line going around, following around into your waist, into there and down to touch the straight line that you've got here. So you've got your seam allowance going on around there. So this is now your side. This is now your side front, and you can just write on there side front, and you're going to, how many you're going to cut. So this is a side front, and you're going to cut 2 of those for your side front. So once you've got that, before you cut out, you're going to check that it matches up your front. So we just cut that out now, and then we'll line it up so that you can see that it should all match. Everything should match and lay as best as it can. If you follow your seam lines and you add the right amount of seam line on your pattern, everything should match up. So we'll call this stage here stage 1. So we have completed the front. So you can put your draft away, don't cut your draft up. So we're going to check that it matches on here. So you can either measure it with your tape measure, or you can lay those on the seam line, making sure that that comes to the waist, that goes round there, that comes there, and you can see that spot on onto the bottom. So those seams, you know that they fit, so you're all right. You can cut out the side section, and once you've got that, we can go straight onto the back section. So we're going to come back to that as well. See you in a little while. Bye.